Next news. Breaking news from the White House.
The clucks on The View thought they were going to bring Alina Habba into a friendly ambush. What they got instead was a full-blown America First counterattack on national television. Habba walked onto the set, looked straight into the left's favorite talking points on immigration, lawfare, and the Comey controversy, and she didn't flinch for a second. She turned their smug interruptions into a public lesson in common sense, border security, and accountability. And then she delivered one line about the Trump Department of Justice that should have every deep state operator in Washington sweating tonight. Now, why does this matter to you? Because it's not just another cable TV food fight. This is about whether truth is allowed back into public life after years of propaganda from the corporate media and the former Biden administration's political machine. When Habba says President Trump supports immigration the right way, through the front door, she's defending something every law-abiding American understands. A nation without borders is not a nation. Your family pays the price for that chaos with higher crime, strained schools, crushed wages, and communities forced to absorb policies they never voted for. When she says that this Department of Justice brings real cases, she's drawing a bright line between the lawfare circus Americans were forced to watch under Jack Smith and Letitia James and a Trump administration that says evidence actually matters. See, that's bigger than just an interview. That's a message that accountability is back and the old protected class may not be protected much longer. And while the Trump administration is restoring accountability at home, it's also making major moves to secure America's future overseas and underground. This breaking from the White House. They just announced over $30 billion to secure America's critical mineral supply chains and named a specific Alaskan project as a key strategic asset for U.S. mineral independence. Now, I've been to the Vizsla Copper drilling site in Canada myself. I've held the core samples. But it's what's happening right now in Alaska that's bigger than most people realize. President Trump just unveiled Project Vault, a $12 billion strategic mineral reserve designed to stockpile essential resources and keep America strong, supplied, and independent from foreign adversaries. Now, Vizsla Copper is one company investors are watching very closely. Now, pay attention. They're trading in the United States under VCUFF and in Canada as VCU.V. If you want the details on why this matters right now, check the exclusive briefing. It's linked below. It's only for Next News viewers. And see why America First supply chains could become one of the biggest stories of the year. And we thank Vizsla for supporting our work. Now back to the media meltdown, because Habba was just getting started. See, here's the part that the legacy press really can't stand. She didn't go on The View to apologize for Trump or soften Trump or translate Trump for nervous elites. She went there to defend him directly and expose the left shell game. When Whoopi tried to play the old line that illegal immigrants are just desperate people looking for help, she snapped back in the conversation, brought it right back to reality. Legal immigration is welcome, criminal chaos is not. And that's the distinction, exactly what the left keeps trying to erase. Here we have some clips for you. Alina Habba on The View talking about Comey and the new indictment and him turning himself in.
During Hot Topics earlier today, we discussed the most recent federal indictment.
Oops, my bad.
During Hot Topics earlier today, we discussed the most recent federal indictment of former FBI Director James Comey related to an Instagram post of seashells, an Instagram post that he deleted the very next day and apologized for. Do you think Comey's post rises to the level of a criminal threat against the life of the president and supports an indictment?
I do. I'll explain why. After Comey's post, and this is where I go back to Saturday's events, the responsibility of certain individuals like us. We all have a very big voice. He is a former FBI director. He knows what 8647 meant. There's no question about it. He actually went on TV later.
What do you think 86 means?
To kill the president, to get rid of the president. That's what it means. By the way, his words, not mine, if you look at his late night show.
But the dictionary disagrees with you on that.
Well, he's the FBI director.
They use it in restaurants. Do they mean to kill any
You don't think it
what
might
are they
meant remove him? Let me
answer.
just tell you what happened after James Comey's post. A gentleman posted that about me. He posted on Twitter, 86 Habba, and he was also charged. He was charged in Florida, and he was held accountable because you cannot do it. Now, this is an FBI director. We have responsibilities. You guys have responsibilities not to call the president certain things or say things that could incite violence. I most certainly think after Saturday, I have a completely new perspective on how important our voices are and how we use them.
Can I mention one thing, that Matt Gaetz also used that 86 many times and nothing happened to him?
Well, I think we look at everything. I'll be honest with you. Absolutely everything is in context. I don't think anybody is immune to it. I don't think we should be sitting here and nobody has condemned Jimmy Kimmel for his comments. Those were despicable.
Joy pointed out earlier, and the president also posted death to Democrats. Do you think the president should be held responsible for that?
When you, all due respect, seen that post. I will tell you what I did.
It does exist.
Okay. What I can tell you is this. And who was the Attorney General and the DOJ at that point?
Probably Pam Bondi, no?
Yeah. Here's how I feel about this. Here's directly how I feel about this. Nobody should be inciting violence. Period. That's my perspective.
Including the president.
But you have to remember something. The Department of Justice brings real cases. We are not Jack Smith. We are not Letitia James. We bring real cases against people.
No, I know.
She is amazing. She didn't just shut down The View, making the case that Comey knew exactly what 8647 meant. The Trump's DOJ is done playing Jack Smith. Now, here's a clip the media loves to wave around as a cheap distraction. Trump lawyer Alina Habba joking about looks and why critics keep trying to make that the story.
Somebody said to me, Alina, would you rather be smart or pretty? And I said, oh, easy. Pretty. I can fake being smart.
I meet him all the time, Alina.
I mean, that's the honest truth, and it's going to make me, I'm sure there'll be some Washington Post article about it tomorrow, Daily Beast, my favorite. But listen, you have to be honest. It doesn't hurt to be good looking in this world, in the PR world, on TV. It doesn't hurt. And when you're good looking, that's great, but it can also mean people think you're stupid, or people think that President Trump hired me because I was good looking. That is absolutely not the case.
So the jab about image is exactly how the press tries to sideline strong Trump fighters instead of answering what they say. Next, she gets into substance again, going head-to-head with Whoopi on immigration and spelling out Trump's front door policy in plain English.
How do you justify, or do you justify the president's attitude against immigration? Knowing what you know, do you say to him, that's not quite how this, people aren't just coming to lay around and collect money, people are actually fleeing? Are you able to point that out at all to him?
The president and I have spoken about immigration. He is pro-immigration the right way, through the front door, through our systems, through the policies. He is not pro somebody getting stabbed on a bus. He is not pro rapists.
But you're mixing two things up, because I'm talking about because you're talking. Let me say, you're talking about incidents that happen. So we could all say, well, if these people weren't here, if these people weren't here.
Yeah, Whoopi. You can try to change the subject all you want, but the real bombshell came when the conversation turned to Comey. And that 8647 post, she made the point plainly. A former FBI director knows exactly how language like that is heard, and pretending otherwise insults the intelligence of the American people. Then came the line that hit like thunder. The Department of Justice brings real cases. We're not Jack Smith, we're not Letitia James. There it is. It's not just a defense of one indictment, but a declaration that the Trump administration's DOJ sees a difference between political theater and actual criminal exposure. And that's why the media is panicking. If equal justice is finally applied to people who thought they were untouchable, the whole corrupt protection racket starts to crack. So Alina Habba did more than survive The View. She dominated it. She exposed the left's confusion on immigration, reminded the country that President Trump is pro-legal immigration, pro-American safety, and drew a clean line between real prosecutions and garbage lawfare Americans suffered during the previous administration. That's why this moment matters. It's not just about an interview. It's about confidence. The Trump team is no longer playing defense, and the establishment knows it. If you think Comey should be held to the same standard as everyone else, say yes in the comments. Then share this report everywhere. Make sure you subscribe and you turn on your notifications. And better yet, text the words raw feed to 844-840-4963. That's the secret line I've got set up just for you, so you can bypass big tech suppression of our work and get direct updates straight to your phone when it matters most from me. Make sure you check out the Next News merch shelf below this video. Stay loud, stay fearless, and keep standing for truth, borders, and America first.
The system controls information. Information control is power.
They don't want you to see this.
The truth only survives together. They don't want this shared. Share this now.